My name is Daniel Darwin.
My name is Julia Nebrija is the full name.
I'm otherwise known as Astro Boy. I hula hoop on fire for a living, and I do theater, and I live in Manila.
I'm transitioning more into how arts and culture transforms our city. And I've found my home in Malate. As someone who never had a home, that has been one of the most special things to me, I think, is like I'm part of something. That's my favorite part about being Filipino.
The title of our podcast is called In Fairness. In Fairness as a phrase is completely, I think, individual to Filipino culture. It's like an English phrase that is Filipino.
It starts off like the traffic is terrible and like, you know, the pollution is bad and it's difficult sometimes, but like in fairness, I love it.
In Fairness with Julia and Daniel. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to In Fairness with Julia.
I love how you always, it's like,
well, because it's part of the title.
Daniel. Yeah. I am Julia. This is Daniel, in case you don't already know.
Nice to re-meet you.
Nice to re-meet you. We were gone for a week doing what? Why were we not here the other week? I don't remember.
What have we been doing? It's so much and so little, because none of it means anything.
Well, I know that the other week after taping the show, the week before we had gotten massages, and then last week we went to or 2 weeks ago we went to an awesome, very strategically not economical happy hour.
That was the best happy hour I've ever seen.
If anybody needs the best happy hour in Manila, it is at Heckle and Jekyll.
Yeah, across the street from the great taco place.
Oh, Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
In Burgos, just nearby where we are right now. And you can get one shot for 110 pesos.
Of tanduay.
Of tanduay in Coke. 2 shots of tanduay for 100 pesos and 3 shots for 90 pesos. So if you can do simple math and you like to save money, you might have done what we decided to do, which was
drink like 3 each.
the 3 shots for 90 pesos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was Julie and I ended up making friends with like everyone at the bar.
Everyone.
20 of whom were like these Italian interns who are here working for some company. And
who knows? Exactly.
Julie and I had this great time hanging out with 20-year-olds and reliving our youth. Yeah,
it was pretty amazing. And the security guard also.
Oh, the security guard wouldn't let us in.
Who wouldn't let me in again? Again? I was there with Rafi, and we went out with this like shark's head, like a fake shark's head.
Okay.
And they wouldn't let him come into the bar with the shark's head.
Because it's a weapon of mass destruction.
Because it's a weapon of mass destruction.
That's terrible.
The fake teeth are really sharp. So he was like, "Ma'am Julia, thank you for coming back. You cannot come in once again."
Put the dead animal down.
Put the skull on the, like, you have to leave it. I was like, can we like check it somewhere?
I can't believe you went back to that place after our last night there.
I know. Well, he was like very excited to see me.
Oh my God, because we were such good patrons that
evening. We were such good patrons that night.
We played pool. Well, I didn't play pool.
I tried to play pool. I tried to play pool. Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was like hitting on the guy who is renting out darts.
Yeah, that was
being like, just love me.
The thing is that you can't really. There's not a lot of bars actually like that, like Heckle and Jekyll. They're like bars.
Yeah, with like pool and
like TVs and darts and
90 peso drink specials.
And 90 peso 3-shot drink specials. I just don't like, other than just going and buying a bottle of tanduay at 7-Eleven. I don't even really know what you could do that's cheaper. Like the Coke is more expensive at that point.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
We'll see what happens after today's taping. But anyways, it's been 2 weeks and we have been running around Manila, actually.
Chickens with our heads cut off.
Yeah, chickens with their heads cut off.
What have I been up to? Well, I've been doing a lot of soul searching.
Oh God! Isn't it a full moon again? It's a full moon, right?
It's a full moon tonight, yeah.
Which means what happens during full moons. We just
I turn into
crazy.
A werewolf.
Yeah.
And lose my shit. Mm-hmm. And I have been like sort of, because I'm just getting trained. I'm going to be an English teacher.
Oh yeah.
So I'm teaching English at like BPOs and stuff, and I'm really excited about it. It's teaching me how to teach. But it was 2 weeks of super intensive training, and then that ended, and now HR is like not calling me. It's been like a week and a half of me being like...
Yeah, and like what is it like that you have to go through the test you have to go through?
And you have to go through like demo trainings.
Yeah.
And my brother teaches at the same company. It's a very reputable company. And like as far as language instruction goes. And my brother got me into this training program. He got me the interviews and everything. And Joel, my older brother, passed after 2 demo classes. And he was feeling kind of down on himself because like he didn't nail it and he's a perfectionist. So I was like, okay, challenge accepted. Like I'm gonna study and I'm gonna fucking nail this, you know? And it took me 5 times.
Well, okay, it took you 5 times because you also had to like dumb yourself down.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Right? Yeah. Well, because
you're teaching English to somebody. I mean, it's the same like if I take like Tagalog lessons. Like you can't talk to me like a native Tagalog speaker, and you need to like take down your language
and
to a certain level. And like you can't even walk down the street without spitting out like GRE words, which I need desperately. Because I can't even remember my GRE words, and
you're studying for the GRE.
And I'm studying for the GRE, and it's
everyone I've told that I tell so many people that you're studying for the GRE, and they're like, GRO?
I'm studying to be a GRO! Oh my god, so that's perfect because it's like, she's studying to be a GRO because she doesn't know how to be like charming or like sexy or interesting to old men.
All of the important skills.
Which I really love when they put the advertisements for GROs. It's like 18 years old, good looking, and like must have pleasing personality, and like all these different criteria. And you're like, okay, well clearly we know this is like guest relations officer. Like why even call someone the guest relations officer when you are looking for like...
I think it's poetic. I like.
You like it? You like it?
I like the GRO.
I guess that I would prefer to be called GRO than other names.
Yeah, right? Considering. But what is the GRE?
The GRE, it's just an entrance exam for graduate school in the United States. It's a pain in the ass. You have to like prove that you can, write essays in an analytical way, and you have to memorize algebra formulas that I haven't thought about since I was like 12.
So it's like the SATs squared.
It's like the SATs, but more intense. Because you can't possibly do a PhD unless you can solve a ratio problem about yellow marbles. If you have 6 yellow marbles and you pick one and then you put it back and then you get another one, what is the likelihood of the second one being red?
I'm fucked.
And like the funny part about it is when I finally take this test, like I'm sitting in my room taking these practice tests, and I'm like fully talking out loud to myself. I'm like, the yellow marble is whatever, and if I put the word in, and like I can't speak out loud probably like that during the testing when there's like 600 other people
crying beside you.
Exactly, like trying to prove they know what bifurcate means.
Yeah, right. Oh god, what a word.
What a word. What a word. Anyways, so you have to go through these simulations to teach people how to speak American English, right?
Right.
And what is that like, trying to teach people how to speak? What is American English anyways?
Yeah, because I was in training with like this one guy who's like teaching German and another guy who's teaching Mandarin, and for them it's like table, like table, because they're starting from like ground zero.
Yeah.
Right? But with English, it's so tricky because our vocabulary is so good here.
Right.
It's just things like the grammar that get really wonky. Mm-hmm. So they kind of had to rewrite the whole curriculum for this certain like approach to language instruction. So I think that's why it took me so long, or at least that's what I'm telling myself, because I don't like feeling like an absolute failure, like an abject failure.
But you passed it.
Times. I passed it, just like you'll pass the fucking GREs.
Well, I might minimally pass it, but let's see.
Yeah, but I really like this. I'm excited about being a teacher, man. It runs in the family. Like my whole, since the dawn of time, we Darwins have been teachers, like so. And I never thought I would be, because I was always like I was so obsessed with attention. I was like, I don't want to be a teacher, I want to be a star, But
essentially you are a star.
I know, and then I realized I'm like, literally, I have a captive. I'm gonna walk into class and just be like, today we're gonna learn about the musical Annie. And I'm just gonna fucking
which is something you have to do, right? Because you have to like also, in teaching American English, you have to teach American like pop culture references and American,
I think it depends on where they end up slotting you, because they do because for example, some of the teachers like are doing more like American culture, because a lot of these people are like getting calls from like angry housewives in Minnesota who are like,
so my cousin,
I thought
my cousin like studied to be an engineer and then like became like a BPO worker, and he like fields calls for newspapers of like angry women in the South being like, y'all didn't deliver my newspaper, and like it was on my lawn, it was wet, it wasn't in the plastic, and now I can't read the. I mean, and he has to like sit here and deal with this, and like he has no idea. He thinks that like every person in the United States is like an angry Southern woman, like, and he can't even like understand them half. He's not off the mark, but he can't even like understand them half the time. He was telling me like that they're just, especially when they get furious and like, you know, the very fast speaking comes out and whatever else. It's like very difficult to understand.
I know, and it's tragic. You know, it's hard for a lot of these people because these people are incensed when they call. Like they're so angry that they're like, you know, like Carrot Chopper that they bought on TVC, broke
as
after
seen on
2
TV,
weeks.
which I love as seen on TV.
Right.
I recently bought the Veggetti, and it's wonderful. I recommend it. I recommend it to everyone.
Like
it is worth
wildlife reserve.
It is worth your $9.99, and if you call now, you also get like the extra chopper for free.
And the extra.
It's called a Veggetti, and it's like this. It's essentially you could do the same thing with like a peeler, but like you like twist the zucchini inside of it and it comes out as like spaghetti. It's called the Veggetti.
Do this again.
It's called the Veggetti. You twist it and it comes out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like that Play-Doh thing that you used
Actually, it's exactly like the Play-Doh thing. It's exactly like the Play-Doh thing.
And I used to eat Play-Doh.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It explains a lot.
Explains a lot. But as seen on TV.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, these people care so much about their Veggettis breaking. It's the worst problem.
I would be incensed if my Veggetti broke. What would I eat without the Veggetti? I'd have nothing.
People, you know, and they call this country, you know. They call a 1-800 number, but they get some poor fuck like your cousin in this country who's like up at 3:30 in the morning, and like the last thing they want to hear is like the health person saying something like, you know, well, let's kill 2 birds with a 1 stone. Like that kind of shit is like what makes them fly off the handle. So like these people are walking on a knife, like, because if they say the wrong word, you set off a time bomb, you know? So then what happens is this center gets hired by those BPOs to like send me in, or send like versions of me in. And we have to like teach them idioms and like cultural references, like twerking.
Like, you know what this is just like is that time that Katy Perry was unable to. The breaking of your Veggetti is exactly as if Madonna were. You know,
just remember that you were beautiful no matter what.
Remember that you're beautiful no matter what.
Bring you down.
Words cannot bring you down despite the loss of your Veggetti.
Oh my God, I can't imagine. I mean, it's so absurd, you know? And it's become, the BPO industry is just so intense.
So hilarious.
Like my friend, one of my good friends, his boyfriend is, he works the night shift, you know?
Oh God, well they're like all night shifts pretty much.
I know, yeah, well he's like a night shift manager or whatever. And it's like they never get to see each other, and it's so intense to...
That's true. One of my cousins lives with his partner, and they Skype each other because the partner works during the day, and then he goes to work at night, and so they actually Skype each other when they're at work to see each other, unless they're on the weekends, because they come home and they have like 20 minutes or something together before one goes to work and one comes home to sleep.
You like have breakfast, and then like cuddle for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one of you leaves.
Sounds like my best.
I'm gonna cry. It sounds so beautiful.
Like the perfect relationship.
That's all I want is a 20-minute cuddle.
Well, it's funny because like my mom will call like these numbers, you know, and she's in the States, she's in Florida, and she'll call like the 1-800 number and like get someone who she thinks she like gets an inkling that they're in the Philippines, and she's like,
oh my God,
are you in Manila? My daughter's in Manila. What's the weather like? I haven't heard from her. Is it a typhoon? Because I haven't heard from her like 3 days. How is it going?
Totally.
What time is it there? Like, you know, or
they're not allowed to answer.
No,
they're not allowed to talk about it.
So uncomfortable. Like, Mom, you can't do that to them. Like, they don't want to talk to you about like your daughter who's living in Manila. And she's like, she lives near Manila Bay. Where do you live? Is that near to you? You're like, this person's like so trying to solve your like computer problem.
Right? Like,
you know. And the same thing for she calls anywhere in the world, because I think that we lived abroad for so many years, and now she's like in Florida and is totally starved for like international people. So she'll call wherever it's in India. She goes, I just loved Delhi. I just loved it. the temples, the food. I also went to Varanasi. That was very enjoyable.
Yeah, my dad does the same thing, and I think it's because I think it's because they want.
Well, they're like the negative population who is not incensed by the fact that you are not in
so they're trying.
Chicago
my dad is like trying to make it less. Weirdly exploitative, by being like, I know where you are and it's cool. Let's talk about like human to human, you know.
Right.
But when you're just trying to get through, like for example, because my first job out of college was I worked for this tiny French magazine, right? And they needed a subscriptions manager who was bilingual, and at the time I was bilingual. I don't know where that went. Like it's like gone. Now it comes out like Taglish, like it's somewhere in between Taglish and French, you know. But back then I was super fucking fluent, and so they hired me, and the fluency in the French wasn't the problem. The problem was that if you work with customer service, you're just dealing with the worst people, because it's like there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people who don't get their way and then fix it, and then there are people who don't get their way and then call customer service.
That is me. I'm the one who cannot read a manual. I cannot today the fucking air conditioning guy came over and was like, ma'am, it's not working because you didn't push this one button. And he can't. I was like, the wires aren't. I'm like the wiring is off, and and the thing is whatever. And he was like, ma'am, beep. I was like, and he opened the manual. Was like, it's page 1. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I
don't know how to read numbers.
The last time I called Dell to fix when I had a Dell computer, which was 2007, and so they I got on the phone and I had put, the little flash card thing that you put into the computer. It's for your camera, oh my God. It's like a memory card, but it's small. The SD card.
NASA.
The SD card.
The spaceship technology.
But the small one, the thin one that controls the world.
The tiny satellite.
The tiny satellite that has all the world's secrets.
I can't with technology.
Yeah, so I put that, I was in a hurry and I put it in the wrong hole. I put it in the CD drive, and the CD drive, so I was like, oh, I'll just eject the CD that's in there. And when I ejected the CD, that spaceship promptly fell into my computer.
Oh.
And I was like,
okay.
Oh my God. So I called.
It's gone. It's inside.
It's inside. So I couldn't put a CD in there. Nothing was working. I couldn't also get this thing out, which I needed the pictures from. And I also had no money to pay someone to open it and extract this thing, because it was as expensive. I went to the Geek Center at Best Buy. It was as expensive as buying a new computer.
Oh my
so I was
God.
Whatever. So I called Dell, and this Indian man answers the phone, and he's like, ma'am, why did you put the SD card in the CD drive?
Just for clarity, for the record.
It doesn't go in. I'm like, yeah, I know, Ravi, that it does not go in the CD drive. And he's like, but you should not put it in the CD drive. That's not where it goes. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but that's what I did.
For next time.
But why did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, Ravi. I was in a hurry. I was really in a hurry, and I put it in the wrong slot. I don't know what to tell you. And we he went on 20 minutes about it, and I was like, Ravi, you know what? I think we can just understand this point in time.
Let's just agree to disagree, Ravi.
Let's agree to disagree. Let's agree that I'm stupid. Okay, let's agree that I'm stupid. And
you're right, Ravi. You're right.
Just like everything else in my life, Ravi. Just like everything else, And I was I turned into one of those incensed customers where I,
But was it your fault or was it Ravi's?
The funny part about it is that he finally figured it out, and then by the end of this whole process, I just decided to never use the computer again.
See, that's my process. You don't read the manual, you call the hotline.
So wasteful.
But having worked in customer service, I know how horrible it is to work the hotline, so I don't call the hotline. I just throw whatever it is that's not working
I know
out. I'm just oh man, that was I worked for half a year to have that. I guess it's gone, and I put it in my graveyard.
Yeah.
That's a whole corner of my house.
I don't know if he could have given me a cultural reference, if I would have helped the situation. I don't really think so. I mean, I think it's just more about, you're basically one-upping your service compared to so these BPOs don't go to Mongolia or wherever they're going to go to next. It's cheaper than the Philippines.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just to be more competitive.
Yeah.
In that sense, right? Because as soon as everyone else gets better internet, which we don't even have, I don't even know how BPO companies are remotely competitive here with the lack of communications that we have. like the
I'm
speed.
sure they have
everything.
great internet because they.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They're the ones with the best internet.
Exactly.
Is like if you live next to like a BPO tower, you're
set. You're
you are
golden.
set. You are totally set. But like until so I guess that's the main gist of this whole thing, right?
I
Is to
think
like
the main gist is you have to put it in the right hole.
yeah. Well,
It was so funny. I was listening to the whole story and I was like, this exactly parallels the second time I had sex.
and Robbie was just as confused in that situation, wasn't he?
And just as ornery. He's just like, but why?
Why would you do that? I thought it was the right thing at the time.
I don't know. They
Don't
look
know.
the same.
They look the same, Robbie. I was in a hurry. God.
Oh man, poor
So
Robbie.
we're- so
yes,
we're-
what I was trying to say is that it sucks to be Robbie.
Well, I know.
Like, I had to work so hard not to have a nervous breakdown, dealing with angry French bitches all day. French bitches who had moved to America. Can you imagine being French
my
and
God.
moving to America?
No, I can't. I just can't even.
Yeah, like, so they were so angry all the time in general, and then there's like a typo in their magazine, in their like French expat magazine.
I
They
just feel
call me.
like, I mean, I don't want to go on like a whole like American rant or whatever, but I'm going to. I just feel like sometimes the Europeans especially just don't, like the cultural sensitivity level is just, I was just dealing with something today where someone basically was like, give us all your contacts and like give us all the work that you've done and we'll like put it on our website. And it's like, but what? Like, I don't,
Why would I?
just because they think that like it's automatically
Beneficial to you.
It's automatically beneficial to you because they're gonna like feature it in France, and you're like, where is France right now? Like,
What the fuck is France?
last time
France
I
is,
checked,
like, yeah.
economy was not booming in France;
I
it's
know.
booming in Asia. So,
I'm
what
sorry.
is the thing on your website gonna have to do with anything? And
Right.
like, I don't know. I don't. Maybe Americans take the same stance as well, but I feel like I hear it more
I think
often
America is
from
leaning
Europeans.
towards that, but
yeah.
it's just like Europe has been that for decades now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when it's conservatism, right? Like, so at some point, Paris decided that Paris was the tits.
Yeah.
And then, even though they've done nothing since then,
Right.
since World War II, this is before World War, I mean, it's just, they're like the dad who was really good at football when they were in high school and just watches his video VHS tapes like all day long and
Yeah.
talks about the glory days.
Right. Like all the cheerleaders that he was fucking at the
Yeah,
time.
right? Like back in my day,
Yeah.
you know? But it's like, all right, guys, like, cool. I'm glad that.
Can you imagine what Manila's gonna actually be like when we realize that we're the shit?
I
Like
know,
as soon as
right?
everyone actually accepts the fact that it's the shit, it's gonna be like as soon
gonna
as our
skyrocket.
self-esteem as a city rises and we like have the balls to like take ownership and like you know respect it for what all the good parts at least,
Yeah.
and become cocky in that
or like
way.
find the power in it, you know.
Yeah.
In our openness and in our sort of malleability, because I think that's what's killing France. I mean, France is reverting to fascism, arguably. You know, like it's
Yeah.
going more and more and more into this like vicious conservatism, and it's because at some point they went like that and they were like, no, we're good. We don't want to talk to the world anymore.
Yeah.
We just want the world to buy our product.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I don't think that the Philippines is going to do that, and which is why we're rising.
That's a very good point, actually, because
Thank
we're like
you.
because sometimes Daniel has good points.
Every now and then.
Every now and then he has some very intelligent points, but it's very true.
Yeah.
The fact, so I mean, I think it's interesting because the fact that like this sort of the lack of the cockiness in a way facilitates an openness that allows a certain type of growth,
Right.
which I think is, I mean, if ever there's a positive sign of feeling shitty about yourself,
Feeling that
it's
you
being
are not
open to
worth it.
criticism and growth, right?
Right,
It's
and,
like-
and absorbing so much because it makes us the perfect pupil. If we're like, well, I don't really know what I am, so what are you?
yeah.
And then you learn all of these things that we.
I can't
can
possibly
then-
do it for myself. How would you do it?
Yeah, and then you learn. You know, that's
Yeah.
why we're so good at language. You know, that's why we're branching out.
Well, actually, that's like that piece, though. Well, we have to get into that we worship well.
Yee!
It's kind of like that, right?
Yeah, kind of. Cool. We'll get into the we worship well
Yeah.
next episode.
But being open is a good time with the full moon.
Oh man, the full moon. The full moon, and it's like we were talking about, I think that also something that separates us here from all of them there. Like, loosely Europe, like, and the States. Or something that
The
makes,
West.
Something that makes the future a little less bleak to me living here is also this like sort of encompassing openness to spirituality. That, I mean, if you take out the capital R in religion and look more at just the openness to sort of spirituality and other philosophies and the meldings of everything, like I think that also keeps us open, because the Philippines is such a hot pot conglomeration of all of these different religions, spiritualities, cultures, languages. So it's hard to be a hard ass here. It's hard to be like, no, like, you're not cool. I mean, it happens all the time, but generally people are more patient with other people's versions of life, and thereby more open to learning. Would you agree?
Do you think it's because of that, or because everyone like has their own little kingdoms? They're like, okay, do what you're gonna do because you're like in your own little fortress.
Oh, maybe.
And
in fairness.
Like, in fairness.
That's legit. We do have a lot of tiny kingdoms here.
Everything is, I mean, Manila is not a city, it's a series of tiny kingdoms. Whether it's like your one block, or it's like your full barangay, or it's like Ong Pin Street in Chinatown is 8 barangays.
In one street.
In one street. Like, everything is like kind of take care of your own, so it's like you also have the mentality of like, well, you must be taking care of your own, and I accept that you're taking care of your own, and you accept that I'm taking care of my own. And so we all just kind of like exist in the same way, but not necessarily like.
Right. But there's still this notion of like kababayan, and
that's true.
And like
in times of disasters.
Yeah, or like just maybe at least in terms of identity, national identity. But blood ties run much deeper. It's
much deeper, much deeper. We are 7,107 islands after all, and if all of us are in, if a part of every 7,107 islands are all in Manila, that's like 7,107 factions.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
I mean, if 30, what is it? Majority of people live in Metro Manila of any other city. It's our biggest city. Then there's representatives of each of those different places.
Right.
I mean, obviously some islands are not inhabited, but yeah, it's like
the ones that disappear in high tide.
Basically,
they had to swim to Manila. So.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense that like it would be 1,000 little fortresses.
Yeah, I live across the street from one, and it's so awesome because it's this like tiny little gated village. Well, it's not that tiny. It's San Lorenzo. But
that's like an actual gate. I'm talking like.
But I mean, kingdoms with moats are still kingdoms. Like this one has actual like firmaments and walls, you know. And it's awesome for me because I live on the 21st story, so I just get this incredible panoramic 180 view, which is so rare in Makati, where it's like all high rises, you know?
No, and I think that's exactly why, I mean, you can't have that diversity in a lot of cities anymore. Where like I went on a bike ride last night to the fort. So I went from Paco, I biked all the way to the fort, and like along that bike ride you had everything from like people practicing their like fiesta dances in the street, to people like packing into a jeepney, to vendors still at like whatever time of night, and you're going through the city, and through this whole trajectory of this one bike ride you see pretty much everything, and I ended up at like a very nice apartment building in the fort, and then was driven home
in like a penthouse
apartment of the fort. And so you see like people literally scavenging through trash up until this nice party in the fort where you have like every single drink and food that you want, and then after that bike ride those people are like, it's too dangerous for you to bike back to Paco where you just biked from, so they put your bike in the back,
go back to the neighborhood in which you live,
in which you reside. So we're gonna put your bike in the back of our car, and the driver is gonna take you home. So like in one night I went through the whole spectrum of society.
You completely pupated.
I completely did like the
you were like full cocoon to fucking cocoon.
Yeah,
man.
I'm a beautiful butterfly. So true. I guess, you know, millions of fortresses, diversity, lots of problems, but at the end of the day, quite exciting spectrum.
Yeah, just don't be a fucking hard ass like the French.
Don't be a hard ass. And what else? I don't even know what just happened today. We just went on a
treat your customer service people nice.
And apparently treat your customer service people well at the lessons.
Always put it in the right hole.
And always put it in the right hole. So that's what we've got today.
I love you.
Good luck with the full moon. Enjoy, manifest, put the openness into the full moon, and let's see where we end up next week.
Let's manifest.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.